Deputy Harkin.
For 5 minutes, as can. First of all, can I thank Sinn Féin for bringing forward this motion on the unacceptable situation in the National Ambulance Service, which is completely stretched across the country. But the service is at crisis levels in certain areas where wait times are simply unacceptable. Last week, Mr Robert Morton, who is the Director of the National Ambulance Service, gave evidence at the Health Committee. And when he was asked about response times and geographical locations, he said, and I quote, "We conducted a demand and capacity analysis. We commissioned it in July 2021 and it reported in May 2022. It highlighted a number of key areas of deficit. To the best of my recollection, the area of greatest deficit was County Sligo, and Enniscrone was the most difficult area in which to mount a response." End of quote. Now, that's a pretty shocking picture for those who live in that part of Sligo. And indeed, many of my constituents have contacted me over a period of time about these totally unacceptable delays in ambulance response times. However, Minister, I am pleased to see that since January of this year, Sligo now has a 3-day, 2-night crew. It used to be 2 and 2. Now, that's a start, but it is my understanding that a 4-day, 2-night crew is the absolute minimum requirement for Sligo. It is absolutely essential that this minimum requirement is put in place, and I'm asking for a commitment on this. We need a community paramedic in Sligo and Leitrim. As Deputy Pringle said, there is one in Donegal, and it is essential that this service is extended to Sligo Leitrim because it's badly needed. I also heard Minister Donnelly earlier speak of the Pathfinder model, which is a pilot programme at the moment. Again, I believe it should be rolled out in Sligo Leitrim. It is, I believe, being rolled out in Letterkenny towards the end of this year, but we especially need it because of the existing deficit. And in this programme, an advanced paramedic, an OT, a physio, can work with patients over 65 on low acuity calls. Minister, this would help to alleviate some of the huge pressure at Sligo University Hospital. I mean, just today, I received an email from a GP practice signed by 8 doctors, once again stating the stark realities of the severe pressure being faced by patients and staff at SUH. You'll be aware that last year, towards the end of the year, over 50 consultants at SUH signed a similar letter. The reality is, and I want to say it again for about the 10th time in this chamber, when you look at trolley numbers in all the large hospitals, and when you look at the number of beds in those hospitals, the bed stock, what you see from the INMO figures for the first 10 months of last year is this. When you compare Cork's trolley numbers, they were about 10 times their bed stock. St Vincent's were 10.6 times. University Hospital Limerick was about 20 times their bed stock. Letterkenny was about 17.3% times their bed stock. But Sligo University Hospital trolley numbers were 24.7 times their bed stock. So that hospital, Sligo University Hospital, is under the greatest pressure. I mean, there obviously is a long-term solution to build the new block, which I won't go in here to the detail of today, because from the context of today's discussion, Minister, ensuring that Sligo and Leitrim were part of the Pathfinder scheme would, in the short term at least, take a little off the pressure of the most pressurised hospital in the country. And I would ask you, please, to bring that to the attention of Minister Donnelly. Finally, Minister, I know we are currently at the design stage for a new ambulance space in Sligo, and it will be in for capital submission early next year. It is crucial that it is approved speedily and that the base is built as soon as possible. Also, the proposed new National College to train paramedics must be located in Sligo, along with the new ambulance base, to train paramedics ready to start training by 2024 or 2025 at the latest. These are some of the minimum requirements that we need. We have heard from many colleagues here tonight about a number of blockages in the system. Deputy Shortall clearly outlined the crazy situation in UL. There are many other issues, Minister, I want to raise, but time doesn't permit me to do so. Can I simply once again quote for you what Robert Morton said last week at the Health Committee? He said there's a growing gap between demand and capacity. It's up to the government to bridge that gap.
Deputy